So a lot of guys will come to me in married game and they'll be like, either I'm trying to get my ex back or I'm trying to get the sex back. So they go, what do I do? I go, well, they're like, how do I get her to do this? And I go, I understand you want her to do that. Do you want it to be her natural reaction to be that way, or do you want to manipulate her into that? I just want men to taste what I taste, because I did it. It feels so good when you know your wife is like genuinely really into you.
I call it the...
It's been one of my favorite interviews, by the way.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's probably not scripture to you, but listen, this will give you good news.
Yeah. And so you guys know that's actually my copy. I brought that in after reading it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Recovery Roundtable podcast, where the journey to sobriety opens up through powerful discussions and shared experiences. Join your host, Mark, who will bring you stories of triumph and resilience from the heart of Pacific Shores recovery. Every episode offers insights and support, guiding you through the challenges of addiction recovery. Thank you for joining our community. If you're ready to start or continue your recovery journey, we're here to inspire and support you. Let's explore recovery together.
Who the hell are you and how did you get here?
My name is Keith Yackey. I'm a friend of yours, and I've known you for about 4 years now or so. And here we are, man. I teach guys how to get their wives to actually want them again and desire them again.
And it's such a big part of life, because one of the things that I've recognized is you can be happy in business, happy in your fitness level, all things in life are just crushing. But if your marriage is off, life sucks. And the opposite, if your marriage is fantastic, but you're screwing up in these areas or maybe not as happy, life is actually still pretty dang good and you want to produce more.
Yeah.
And so you hit on something huge.
Oof, not on purpose, dude. It was just because I was screwing it up. You know what I mean? Like, I messed it up so bad, and I didn't have any example. Like, if you really stop and consider, like this one usually hits me pretty like, whoa. How many like real couples that you know for real that you go, dude, they are so stoked being married to each other?
It's rare.
It's so rare. Most people, if I ask in a room, I'm like, anybody know more than 5? Almost nobody's hand raised up. I go, okay, how many? It's like 1, I think maybe a second. But yet we all know hundreds and hundreds of married couples.
Yeah.
So not only did my life entirely fall apart when she left, but I was like, I'm a smart guy. I run a business. I know how to be successful, yada, yada, yada. How do I not understand this? How does none of my friends understand this? They're even smarter than me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, so like what gives? And that's, I think, what made me accidentally get into this, dude.
So what's interesting is because, and tell me if I'm incorrect in my thought process, I feel like it's changed over generations. So I remember seeing my grandparents, they stayed married no matter what.
Yeah.
And it was just what you do. It's like you stay together, you stay married, and then my generation with my family, everybody's getting divorced. Mm-hmm. And then it's like they're divorced, they're figuring it out, and then they get remarried. And now I feel like I've got a lot of friends that are on their 4th marriage and they're in their 40s. And it's kind of like married, it's awesome. That attractive factors in the beginning, and then we fall to the lowest standard, and then all of a sudden it's, oh, she looks good or he looks good.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see the evolution of you stay together whether you're miserable, you finally speak for yourself, you get divorced, but then you're figuring yourself out. And now it's just kind of like, gosh, it's like a Dixie cup, it seems like.
Yeah. We call it new car smell.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? You jump in like, this is the best car ever. And then it's just like, I love cars. I like having nice cars. And eventually they're just like, yeah, it's my car. You know what I mean? That's how people treat it. Like, oh, that's my wife. No, that was the lady that you were texting or calling and had butterflies in your stomach before you did it. That was her. That was the one that you hoped in the party liked you. That was the one that you hoped at the bar that you were able to pick up. That was the one that you hoped that you met at church, wanted to, sit next to you during Bible study. That was the one. And now she's like, oh, do my laundry. Like, when's dinner? Why did you take the kids? Why are you late? Why didn't you iron my shirt? Like, we're like, who are you? Mm-hmm. So it's like this, it's almost like this. I've come up with this continuum since you and I have talked last, where I think it's the most simple way I understand how to understand this. And I think it's so simple that a caveman could figure it out.
I love it, because I'm dumber than a caveman, so lay it on.
Let's do this. So there's entitlement on a continuum to enthusiasm. And most men are very enthusiastic in the beginning, and they're really excited about who this woman is. Not just about getting in her pants, although that's a part of it, but they're like, who is she? They're asking about her. they're going on dates and then driving up to the house and then they're listening to their music over and over and over to where the windows are getting foggy.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? Remember that was super enthusiastic. And then slowly, they start to feel entitled, like she's just supposed to be awesome. And us men forget like what it's like to be enthusiastic. So we're enthusiastic, they're enthusiastic, and we're like, this is amazing. Sometimes sex twice a day, like this is awesome. And then the sex starts to chip away for one reason. He starts to become entitled, where she starts to go, well, so she starts to become entitled. And it's just this continuum. It's not like I'm only entitled, but it's how entitled are you? For example, here's some extreme frames. Like most guys, they like depend on their wife for food. Well, just think about that in the law of the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand the females do hunt and whatever, but who comes up and eats first? It's the guy. And so it's kind of like this thing where men have almost become so entitled, like they're leaning on their wife like she's their mom. And that society has been okay. But apparently, eventually, the women back in your grandparents' age, what was your grandparent again?
What do you mean?
What was your grandma's name? I knew your grandparents somehow, didn't I?
Well, I have many different sets because
Okay.
of divorce and remarriages and different things.
Okay, so I know the Chuck Smith one.
Okay, yeah. So that was through marriage. My uncle married their daughter, so we grew up in the Smith family.
Okay, got it. Okay, so back in that era, I mean, the woman, she just was making meatloaf and making 10 to the kids and, listen to the radio. And then dad would come home with his briefcase and like, I just was working at, JCPenney all day or whatever it was. And it was just it was like expected. But TV comes in, people start to see things that are different. Ideas start to be able to move very quickly throughout the world. And then you hit social media and it just explodes. And now a guy can be enthusiastic and go to entitled, and somebody else will show him enthusiasm. And he's like, that's what I was looking for. That's what my wife had. Yeah, back when you were dateable.
Yeah.
And you've forgotten that.
So one of the things you said that really resonated is because the enthusiasm, and it seems like over just time, we revert back to this place of entitlement. But I see so many guys stay enthusiastic during their business, like all different phases. So I know we're capable of it.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think is the difference, and how does a person not hit that entitlement, or if they're currently there, get back to that enthusiastic place?
Well, usually it's the payoff. Like the harder you work, the bigger the payoff. That's not typically the way it is in marriage. Like once you've had sex with her and once you've done the thing, you're again, new car smell starts to wear off. So I think what happens is the thing about business is there's a lot of options. So if one client says, you're not for me, there's another 7 million out there, right? So there's these options. There's still the feeling of conquering in business. I'm gonna go take new land. Most guys can't create those frames within their marriage to also see that, wait, you said it, I want to be a part of the 2%, not the 13%. So there's always another level. Most people aren't seeing that in their marriage. Like, well, we're happy, but it's not as hot and spicy as like the videos I'm watching secretly.
Hear it all the time. Happy wife, happy life. It's kind of like, well, let's look at the context, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I love about your work is you say, become the most attractive version of you. Can you kind of go into that?
Yeah, that's one of what I call it the Holy Trinity of married game. And I use a lot of like gospel language and like Christian language because that's the language I grew up in. And so I call it the gospel of married game because gospel means good news, right? I'm about ready. This book right here, it's probably not scripture to you, but listen, this will give you good news.
Yeah. And so you guys know that's actually my copy. I brought that in after reading it.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Pacific Shores. We have been an industry leader for over 25 years in the mental health and addiction space. We have helped thousands and thousands of individuals and families reclaim their lives. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please reach out so we can do this together. Our number is 949-749-7317.
Yes, dude. Yes. It's like there's these three principles. Number one, I'm the problem, I'm the solution. And one guy said, hey, you had me all the way through until your marketing told me I was 100% at fault. And he goes, I couldn't accept that. I go, well, if I tell you you're 100% at fault, that makes you 100% the solution. So if I tell you it's 80% your fault, are you telling me you're only 80% of the solution? And he goes, "Oh, I got what you're saying." He goes, "Why don't you fix that in your marketing?"
60% of the time it works every time.
Exactly. Uh, so good day, San Diego, right? Is that what it is?
It's yeah.
Something
Yep.
like that. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm the problem, I'm the solution. The second one is become the most attractive version of me for me. And
I like that.
that is where I messed everything up. And this third one supports the second one, which is her response does not dictate my standard.
That was one of the other huge parts I got from it, where I'm like, oh my gosh, because being raised primarily by my mom, my dad had a lot of bipolar and different things, was a great father, but was kind of up and down. And it's interesting because when you're raised of unconditional love from mom and sister, and then you start dating, you're like, well, how do I keep getting this unconditional love? And so it's interesting of seeing that part of saying, well, my standard shouldn't be dictated by how they react. I want to continue to maintain the frame of, I think Jim Rohn said it, I'll take care of me for you, and you take care of you for me. And when we're taking care of ourselves, knowing that I benefit, but you do too, it's really a win-win.
That's the way to live. And that's the team, that's the partner you want in this marriage. And most women will agree to all of that, and it's the guy that drops the ball. I'll give you some simple examples. When Jesse and I got together, I was 185 pounds of tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire. See my abs.
Tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire.
Wrapped
I've
in
never
barbed
heard that before.
I actually heard that from the great apologist, from the guy who, not the guy before the guy who wrote The Kingdom of the Cult, Walter. Any rate, doesn't matter. So
definitely paints a mental picture.
Yeah, 185 pounds of tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire when she left me. Because that's the story. Me and my wife were together. We loved it, had our first baby, yada, yada.
And this was still Jesse?
This is Jesse.
Okay.
And she left. She said, you run your business, you come home and talk about your business, you fall asleep on the couch. Like, that's not what we signed up for. But not only that, but we got together at 185. She left me when I was 245 pounds. So that's the ultimate bait and switch. That's just so physical to the eyes. People can see that, right? But there's a lot of other things. A guy who says, he used to like maybe put the toothpaste on her toothbrush to show he cared about her, and then he stops doing that. He used to maybe make her coffee, and he stops doing that. He used to be home on time and excited to be there, and now he's late, and he's coming in like, hey, I still got stuff to do, and he's distracted. And so the way I look at it is, you're neglecting. I neglected Jesse. So become the most attractive version of me. For me, I was like, wait a second here. Who I am walking through the world should not she should almost have no bearing on that, because she found me in the wild and she was attracted to me. It's like, wow, I didn't seek her opinion, didn't need anything from her. I showed up and got, this is me. She goes, that's who I like. Two things happen. A guy starts to become entitled. He starts, stops the toothpaste, stops the good, whatever it is that shows real, true connection and affection.
Yeah.
And then she mirrors back that to him. And he doesn't know what to do. And he doesn't know that he's the source cause of what's going on. And so he gets mad at the mirror, starts breaking the mirror. It's like, no, you just got some stuff on your face, but we can clean that up. You actually know how to clean it up. When she met you, she was so attracted to you. Well, so I think that's the reason.
I find everybody says they want the truth, but as soon as they're exposed to the mirror, they defend their lies.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Bro, defensiveness is the biggest lady boner killer of all time.
What do you mean?
My wife comes to me and goes, hey, Keith, when you do this, it really makes me feel, no, I don't make you feel that way. I don't do that. That's what most guys do. And so the lady boner, meaning she's just no longer attracted. She just goes, how come every time I open up about my truth, you can't handle it? But you always, when you open up about your truth, you want me to be able to handle it. So there's this two-way street that we use different frames, as you know, but there's the entitlement to the enthusiasm. There's also the giver and taker energy. So are you a giver because that's what you do, or do you give just to get in return? So a lot of guys will come to me in married game and they'll be like, either I'm trying to get my ex back or I'm trying to get the sex back. So they go, what do? I go, well, they're like, how do I get her to do this? And I go, I understand you want her to do that. Do you want it to be her natural reaction to be that way, or do you want to manipulate her into that? And that most, they've never had that question asked to them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if a guy starts to, let's say because most books that I've read talk about behavioral modification. Date nights would be a good example of that, except if your wife's not attracted to you, the last person she wants to go on a date with is you. So date night is not actually the answer. Date night can be the container to rebuild connection, but it's not the answer because she's not attracted to you, right? So if I go, I'm super defensive, she goes, I can't even be safe around this. I don't feel safe around this dude. I can't even be who I really am.
Mm.
And what we love about women is their femininity, their fluidness flowing. It's why like we love watching them orgasm. It's why we love when they look at us with respect and like almost like awe, because that's the feminine admiring the masculine as the masculine admires the feminine. But what happens is a guy is so defensive, which means he's now the emotional chaotic one.
Mm-hmm.
And now she has to be the stable one. He goes, I don't want you stable. I want that thing rocking. She goes, well, you're too busy being out of control.
This is all at an unconscious level that we typically
no
don't
idea.
understand.
Mark, I had no idea about any of this. And so when a guy says, I want the X back or the sex back, I go, bro, we have to get you back.
Mm.
The guy she met that she goes, I like how Mark does that. I like how he dresses that way. I like how he says this. So a guy either becomes radically bitter or he starts to just curve to her.
Mm-hmm.
So did you ever hear that story about the guy who he went and he came out of his closet with a tie and his wife said, oh, no, not that tie, the other tie. Have you heard this one?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so he goes, okay, so he puts the other tie. What does he care? Comes out the next day, has a tie on. She goes, oh, no, not that tie, this tie. And he goes, oh, okay, cool, puts it on. Day 3, he comes out with 2 ties and goes, which one should I pick? Within 3 days, over a simple question of about what tie to wear, he now just gave away his autonomy, his leadership, who he is, and goes, here, you pick this for me. Might seem like a simple example, but it happens so many times along the way. The way guys actually operate and act. For example, if a guy says, let's say he wants to go on a date night because he wants to bring fun back, and they used to have fun, bowling, comedy shows, concerts, whatever it is, right? And he goes, hey, I'd like to invite you to go on this thing. And she goes, nah, I don't really want to go, because she's totally turned off. She's no longer leaning in. And he goes, okay, I won't go then.
Oh, wow.
So you're going to try and convince her you're fun, or are you going to be the guy that actually goes have fun?
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell guys when they go, I want to do a date night. Good, you should go. But even if she doesn't come, go anyway, because you're the guy that's supposed to have, like, isn't this who you are?
Also
and so they
sets the
lose
standard.
themselves. Yeah, they lose themselves.
Yeah. He's like, before I go on my solo date night, sweetie, what tie?
Exactly, right? Oh my gosh. But that's what happens, man. They get bitter or they just get bent. They get bent over and they're just like, and then they go, I don't even feel like the man anymore. How did this happen? And then they have all the proof. This is the crazy part. Look at all that I provide for. A lot of guys, not every guy that works with us is rich, but most guys that work with it, like my actual handle on like our YouTube channel is the world's most expensive relationship coach. So like I'm proud of that. The fact I know, because I ask other relationships about how much they charge for one-on-one service. I've asked almost everyone I know about it. And I'm like, oh, I am the guy. That's not even just, that's true. And look how much I provide. Look at all that stuff I do. And they actually have a resume of like, I provided this. She's a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't have to work. Yada, yada. So they have all these justifications. Why can't she just give me sex? And they seem right until they see the other side. And I think that's what I do in this book. And I think that's what I do in my work is my like, hey, have you possibly tried to see it from her side?
Yeah, and that's difficult. Have you ever seen the show Breaking Bad?
I've seen episode. I saw the second to last episode and the last episode.
So
I skipped everything.
I got into it. I'm just always fascinated when it comes to drugs and stuff, because being in the mental health and addiction field. But there was a scene that hit me in the gut. And he's basically, the premise is he's building this empire off of making like the most pure meth, but he's making millions and millions. And his wife starts to call him out on it. And he says, I'm doing this all for you and the family. Oh. And she goes, I never asked for this. And that hit my gut, because somewhere along the way, I don't know how I got that vernacular, but several times when my wife was just wanting more of me presence, my first go-to was, I'm doing all this for you. And that moment, sometimes in life, there's just this flip of perception where you see someone else do something, and it was a beautiful gift. Like it was a kick in the groin, but it was a beautiful gift of going, how many times I've rationalized what it sounds like most men do. Look at what I hunted and killed, and I'm doing this all for you. But really, it's
Aren't you grateful?
Yeah, but really, it's like, I'm doing this for me because I love what I do. and this is an organic byproduct. But back to the entitlement thing. Look how entitled I am of thinking you should be thanking me for doing this.
Exactly.
Man.
Bro, you hit it so squarely, perfectly on the head, dude. Almost every guy I've coached, and remember, I was the first client of all this,
Yeah.
right? I was the worst.
Ground zero.
I was this is the guy that's as messed up as we can find him. Apparently, we're going to use him because I was able to build it all the way back up, and I understand the mechanics of what it wasn't luck. Me and Jesse's relationship is not luck. It was no. She hated me so much that she took our 2-year-old daughter, loaded up. We were moving into our dream house. Like, look what I did. Like it would be any house, unless you're like a billionaire, that you'd be like, this is a cool house.
Yeah.
It was a cool house, right? I mean, 2 doors down from me, Mr. T lived.
Okay, so I pity the fool.
Yeah, I pity the fool, dude, who acts like an idiot and doesn't listen to Married Game because, dude, it was that street. I watched the U-Haul and her, and it was one of those pavered, kind of streets, and have those little granules of sand. You could hear the tires kicking up that stuff, and I'm watching the U-Haul going, and I'm like, this is my second divorce.
So you've been married before?
Yeah, yes, with kids and the whole. I got a whole history before.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, dude, I remember like it was yesterday when I came up with the concept, and it more like hit me more than anything. I was sitting at the edge of my bar where the living room and the kitchen room, and I was sitting there, and I was like, all right, man, you're now going to have to do this for you. And that's where I got I have to become the most attractive version of me. For me, was right there in the kitchen. That line came in. You have to become the most attractive version of you for you, Keith. And I was like, oh, now I understand what this is. You should be grateful. I live down on the peninsula in the greatest house ever. The next door neighbor is Randy Johnson, the best pitcher of all time. You know what I mean? He's just the greatest guy ever.
Everybody knows him as the pigeon killer.
Yeah, that's right. He's the pigeon
that
killer.
was insane.
The big unit, dude. But here's the thing. What happens? Oh, I live there because that's my standard. My wife is blessed to be with the man that has that standard, and that's what causes the, dare I say, devotion.
But there's a difference though, because the way that you live it doesn't come off egocentric or belittling, if that makes sense. Okay. It comes off of like this is my standard, and I invite you to join me, as opposed to because I think people miss that. I think it kind of goes back to the entitlement at times of like, this is the standard, step up, like I demand of you.
Yeah.
How do you get that polarity where it comes from a place? I feel it from the heart versus ego, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's because where it comes from. It's like, you're sitting there laying as a kid, of course we all wanted to be either rock stars or professional athletes, right? Like that's the start. And then you realize, okay, I'm good at guitar, but not that good. I'm good at football, but not that good. So, all right. But you still want to have abundance. You still want to feel like, one of the deepest Christians' belief is that God gave man dominion. Why would he give him that and then make him feel bad about having it? That was his gift, was I'm going to make you have a mind that's going to create. And you're going to want to create abundance because that's the law of nature. Grass, we're always cutting it. Trees, we're always trimming them. Babies are always being born. This is the way of nature. So, of course, we want to step into that flow and be like, yes, I feel abundant. I feel like I'm creating. Well, when you're not doing that, and you're stifling it, and you're being belittled by the one person that you thought would like really be there for you, it takes away who you are. So I just realized, well, you know how I'm going to get rich? By learning business. And you know how I'm going to do that? By whatever the fuck it takes to learn how to do that. That's what I'm going to do. And guess what? It was painful until it wasn't, until it became the greatest joy of my life. Jiu-jitsu, another thing. How do I learn how to protect myself? I've just celebrated my 2-year anniversary like a couple of days ago for jiu-jitsu, and I go 4 hours a week. I do privates, I do publics, I wrestle with absolute gorillas. I have for 2 years. That changed who I was as a human. So when you do this, you go, wait a second, I can learn the skills to do anything. Well, that's the thing that I didn't realize about marriage. Wait a second, dude. You can learn the skills of how to actually attract your wife. So these things, it's like, wait a second, if somebody doesn't have what I want, or I have, and they want it, I'm like, oh, dude, I used to make $6 an hour. Oh, dude, my wife was so mad at me. She left me because I was such a dodo bird. Oh, dude, I used to be 245 pounds. Wasn't always looking like this. So it's like, I want to, if that's what you want and you can admit it, I have to show you. That's the energy, right?
Well, I love that you share that because I know
I love your watch, dude. It's so
Oh,
good.
thank you.
Yeah.
I went into marriage for some reason thinking it's like once you get married, that's like kind of what you go to, and you don't have to continue to do everything.
Ooh.
And I remember a mentor said, Mark, do you invest in your marriage as much as you do into your business?
Ooh.
And that part, I'm like, what do you mean? Like marriage shouldn't take work. Like I had this false belief, and I don't think I'm alone. A lot of people I talk with are like, dude, you do all the work dating, you find the right one, you get married, you just kind of live.
Yeah.
And so I remember when we were doing therapy, people were like, oh no, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, why? Well, because you guys are in marital therapy. I'm like, well, because we want to learn how to continually like serve each other and get better. There's this false belief. And do you see this with clients of
99.999% of them?
Okay.
Keep
so
saying
you're
it.
saying there's a chance.
Yeah. Keep saying it, dude. Yeah. Keep preaching. This is amazing.
Well, that's the part is if I invest in my marriage where I'm continually pursuing my wife, like I remember hearing someone say this, that if you treated the last day of your marriage like you did the first day, there would never be a last day.
Never be a last day.
And I remember hearing that too. And I thought, I do. There's so much, I don't know why it's human nature. I think we seek comfort, even though we unconsciously know it'll kill us.
Yeah.
But we look for these comfortable ways, and marriage is the most comfortable thing of, I don't have to do anything. I just want to make sure. But everything else in life is continual degradation. It's just the law of the world. You leave your car outside for a couple years, the sun will destroy the paint. And so as we continue to invest and to do the work and to keep things looking new and pruning, this is how things grow. So how do you find you can break that old belief or that old mindset for this continual thing for perpetuity of going, I want to be in my hundreds, still chasing my wife?
Yeah, dude. Two things I want to do. I want to be banging Jesse into my 90s, and I want to be laughing. Those are my two favorite things, dude.
I love it.
I mean, I want to laugh and I want to bang my wife. So, two frames. Shifting the belief I've found is once you shift the frame, that's like the easiest way to shift how you believe about something. So first and foremost, these aren't, you didn't, when she said I do, you didn't cross the finish line. You simply stepped into the starting blocks. That's one frame.
I like that. Okay.
I just began now.
So that's the start.
Yeah, it's the start. Second frame, you use the word investment, and when we think about investment, a good investment has an ROI, right? So in terms of investing, when I look at the investment into my time, energy, and resources into my wife, the ROI is the return of intimacy. So I switch. That's another frame. Like, okay, I'm going to get intimacy back, not just back, but I'm going to get it for myself. Ultimately, like, yeah, married game. The fruit is sex. I'm leading with a thing that if a man's not getting what he wants, he knows that. And so I lead with that. But really what it is, it's like a man doesn't just want sex. He wants to be wanted. Mm-hmm. He wants to also be desired. He wants to see that, wow, she's really enjoying what I'm able to create with her. And then the third frame, which I think might, I don't know if it's the most powerful frame, but it's this, I'll just leave it at those two frames. I lost my track, but there's a third frame that
you got to leave the open loop so people keep coming back.
It is more powerful than the other two. I just forgot what it was. It'll come back to me.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of a question. So one of the things you talk about, well, actually,
hold on. The frame about like growing, pruning, getting better, growing, and stuff like this. Here's the frame is that you're going to be married to a lot of different people in your life, even if you're married to one, because they're growing, they're seeing things differently. And here's how you know how simple this is. Have you ever had a belief that you believed so deeply, maybe early in your 20s, that you thought you'd give your life for it, that now in your 40s you go, what the hell was I thinking? Yeah. Every person in their 40s has that experience. Why? Were you wrong? No, you were right for who you were, where you were on the path. But now you have a very different perspective. Mm-hmm. So you're looking and going, well, I've got more data points. You just don't have very much data points at the point. So one of the things is if we can turn the culture to where how your wife loves you was your sign of how good of a man you were in society, the whole fucking thing would flip. Rather than, I don't know about her. If a guy talks, You've been through married game. You understand how we operate and the thinking that if a guy goes, you just don't understand, and she's a this and she's that, we go, oh, he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Well, there's been like 550 guys that have come through like the deep training of married game. We can't even fill up a student body section at a college football game with that amount of guys, right? That's how little. But when you really take this in, you don't see anything the same.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see anything, and you go, wait a second, she's a mirror to me. So if she's acting like that, that means that's the dashboard of this crashing plane saying, pull up, dude. That frame of if she is a mirror to me and there's things about her that are rubbing me wrong, that's where I get to grow. Now you flip the whole frame of my frustration with her is about how bad she is, where my frustration with her is this is an area of growth. That's what I think is the frame that helps me.
Yeah. No, that's really good because it's one of those things that of understanding.
You look like Matt Leinart. You get told that a lot?
Who?
Matt Leinart.
Oh, I see Andy Roddick way back in the day when he was all over.
I'm getting Leinart vibes. I don't know if it's the light or whatever. I love it, dude.
I'll take it, dang
yeah,
it.
dude. I saw him on a flight one time.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and I just said, hey, I want you to know you have given me, my two sons and I, some of the best Saturdays of our entire life watching your games. He goes, oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much.
Isn't it cool? It's so that we're an hour from LA. I used to go up there all the time and meet famous people and just walking. But it's amazing how we just come off and share that way. Like I remember Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park.
Oh, yeah.
I told him, I'm like, hey, man, I said, I just thank you for your music. Like the amount that you've pushed me and my band. And it was so cool because right away it wasn't like geeking out. It's kind of like, dude, thank you. Like that means a lot that my music has inspired you and how you can push yourself further.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool. So I went down a little rabbit hole there.
No, it's fun, man.
Something else you talk about is the 5 dials.
Yeah.
Are you cool sharing some of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a part I think a lot of people miss is we tend to focus on one area of life and negate the other dials.
For sure.
So I love the framework that you came up with. So I'd love to hear you kind of share a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's like the things are like, if it's not working, why? So, well, let's break it down. So that's how it kind of came up with the 5 dials was like, well, what are the actual things that if I did this, it actually moves the needle towards her becoming more attracted to me. Because ultimately that's what we want. We want the girl from across the room to be like, that's my guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when she's not acting that way, we start to go, why isn't she acting that way? Well, that would be a smart guy. Why isn't she acting that way? Okay, cool. Well, I boiled it down. It used to be 4. We realized there was another very key component, and so we had to add the 5th one. And if you actually dial these 5 up, we call it a provocateur, a man who provokes his wife to lust after him. Mm. One of the things that we're big on, and this is what this 5 dials will do, is it is our responsibility to create the container for romance because you're the leader.
Yeah.
So that being said, these are the baseline things that if you move these, and you can do these every single day. So the first dial is the parenting dial. How good of a parent are you? And a lot of guys are like, I'm a good dad, I'm a good this, and they probably are. I don't think they realize how much if their wife doesn't really feel like he's really a part of the team, he's just kind of doing maybe the fun things, but he's not actually parenting. He's just kind of the distant dad. That was me, and that really frustrated Jesse.
Yeah, one thing I noticed is because I've tried to build my whole life around my family. So family first, everything else goes around that. And at the school functions, I'll look around, I see all moms and maybe 1 or 2 other dads.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I'm like, way to go. While I'm sitting working on my phone. And I missed one of the P's that I live off of is, am I being present right now? And so by putting the phone away and being present, I found that's really what my kids wanted is they kick the ball and they look over, Dad, did you see it? And if I'm on the phone, I'm like, oh, hold on, bud. I'm like, oh, that one hurts. Yeah. So parenting, I love it.
Parenting, dude, you mentioned the word presence, which I think is the key to everything. A woman wants her man's full attention when she has his attention. She doesn't want it all the time. But I have come to realize that if you give a woman your like undivided attention, that the reason why date nights are so powerful, if you're this type of guy, is you're saying my 100% attention is on you.
Mm-hmm.
That's valuable if a man is having others vie for his attention, his business, his whatever. Like that's a supremely valuable man, has a lot going on. So she goes, wait, he's putting all that aside and focus on me. To me, that's the sunshine that makes the plant bloom.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a good parent, that means, like, for me, I had to literally say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes every single day with my daughter. I had to put a metric on it because there were some days I didn't want to.
Dude, we got to gamify stuff as guys.
Have to. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, so 30 minutes till it got to the point where now I just ask, hey, do you want to go hang out with me? You want to go do something? And now she's 11. She's like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? Hey, I'll catch you on Sunday and let's go do this. So it's very different now. So I had to change the metric. So that's that. The parenting dial, most guys would rate themselves pretty good on a scale of 1 to 10. Most guys would give themselves a 6, 7, or maybe even higher.
And then what does the wife rate them? I'm curious.
That's it, right?
Okay.
So the second dial is the partnering dial. This one is, I call it the best friend dial, which is 100% the presence. It's all about presence. You know my best friend Garrett.
Yeah.
And we'd surfed every day for like 5 years together, or at least 5 or 6 days out of 7. And so we are very comfortable with each other. We've shared every story, everything that's going on. I know every one of his issues. He knows all of mine, right? But the reason we were able to develop such a deep bond is because we were out in the middle of the ocean with just 2 dudes on boards waiting for waves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Radical presence. So we built this incredibly deep bond to that. Well, that's how your wife felt in the beginning when you were driving up and listening to the music till the windows became foggy, when you would actually ask her about her mom and she could tell you were actually listening. So it became more about this, not just how's your day and I'm going to listen to it so I can try and get sex later, but it's now like, no, I'm actually, and I have a lot of like weird sayings about this stuff. So I go, she wants to know that you love the whole of her, not just the whole in her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole of her is the brains. It's the heart. It's the emotion. I always say, if you go for the soul, you'll get the whole. And that means, dude, like, she wants to share her fears without being judged. She wants to share her concerns and be comforted. You know what I mean?
Well, here's where I struggle. Full transparency. I doubt I'm alone. I listen to fix as opposed to feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I when I become aware, I try to feel what she's saying, what she's sharing. But that guy part of the brain that's kind of like, oh, I can fix this in one sentence. Like, let me fix it. And there's this internal battle. Any advice?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you make her feel really stupid when you do that.
Yeah, that hurts.
As stupid as if you were like trying to tie your shoe and said, excuse me, let me do that. You're doing it too slow. You'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? That's how bad it hurts.
Thank you. That one hits.
Yeah, that's it. And there's even a lot of advice out there. Goes, you ask your wife, should I want me just to listen, or do you want me to solve it? Also, how fucking demeaning.
Yeah.
What is she for?
By the way, I've said that too.
Dude, I've said all of this stuff. Right?
I'm like, oh crap! Right when you said that, I'm like, oh cool, I'm doing it. You're like, yeah, you don't. Damn it! I was on the wrong side of the fence on that one.
Yeah, but most of us are.
Yeah.
Our culture has taught us all this stuff. It's rubbish and nonsense that leads us into not getting and not feeling the way we want to in our marriages. And so, dude, rather than this, how about just listen like you do with your best friend? And then ask more questions. Curiosity is probably the greatest aphrodisiac next to laughter with women.
That was one thing that I got too I got a lot of things from your book, obviously, but is listen with curiosity, ask the follow-up questions genuinely. Cause it's interesting. Like, I remember when my wife and I were dating, I would drive, cause she grew up in Chino. I would drive an hour and a half. And I remember we came back down, something happened. Oh no, she left her retainer. So I drove it all the way back to her and drove back. And like, that was the world to her, and how reverting back to old behavior once we got married, like, I forget what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, I would have been like, go get it yourself. Why would I? And I'm thinking, oh, there's that comfort in not pursuing.
Yeah.
So
especially if you start making a bunch of money, you realize how much your time is worth. You start to go, oh, wait a second. And it becomes transactional. You don't want transactional sex, but apparently you want to act like a transactional best friend. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's harsh.
This is just seeing it the right way. So just listen. And How about the word track? I love giving guys word tracks because like most guys don't know what to say in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, ask a bunch of questions, and then this is it. This is how you solve it. What are you gonna do about it? What do you think you should do about it? What do you think we should do about it? What do you think? Let them talk it through, and guess what happens 100% of the time after they talk it through and tell? They go, well, what do you think? Oh, well, now they've asked for it.
Mm.
They're asking, what do you think? And the reason why they feel so dumb when we cut them off is they go, how incredibly arrogant and smart do you think you actually are when you haven't heard the entire story?
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
The doctor diagnoses, just walk in the door. Here's what you need to do.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you anything about it. Yeah, it works most of the time. Just do it.
That's exactly right, man. So that's a new frame.
So you got parenting,
Partnering. And also a good key for guys is if you actually want to talk to your wife better, be a better conversationalist, just go eavesdrop how she talks with her best friend, her mom, and her sister.
I love that. So my uncle was a clinical psychologist. He just passed last year. Brilliant guy, wrote multiple books. I remember one of the things we were talking about is he called it, with his colleagues, they called it twittering. This is before Twitter. He said women just like to Twitter. They just kind of chirp and chat, and it's this beautiful thing. And when you can tap into that and you just listen, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But if you're going in to fix instead of to feel, and I thought, I really like that. Just kind of the Twitter. It's just kind of chirps, and I never had a reference for it before. It was always like, what is she going on about? As opposed to, this is a beautiful thing, what women do to expand what they're feeling.
I call it like, if a guy hasn't had sex in a while, he gets blue balls. When a woman hasn't emotionally connected with you in a while, she gets blue tongue.
Mm.
And so it's like she wants to release all over you, but she realizes she can't because you're so closed in. Same way you couldn't release on her if she was closed in. It's the same thing.
So you create an unsafe space, and people don't open up in unsafe spaces.
Who opens up in an unsafe space? Nobody. So, okay, third one is the producer dial.
Okay.
You just got to be producing. You don't have to be rich, but there has to be ambition. These are attractive traits to women. So, like, I'm not teaching anything new. I'm just saying in the context because the frame I really wanted to get to the other day is short-term attraction versus long-term attraction.
Okay.
Most guys know short-term attraction because they ran game or had girlfriends and tried to get laid out and the whatever.
I see what you're saying.
But you can't use that in a long-term marriage. So the frame that I understood was this. This is so powerful that you can never stop knowing this, even if you forget it in a podcast. It's this. Short-term attraction worked for one reason, is because you had options. She wanted to be your best option so that you would pick her as a long-term girlfriend, right?
Okay.
Wife, etc.
Yeah.
Well, if you're monogamous and you go into a relationship, well, that is now gone. The next best thing, and almost as powerful, sometimes even more powerful actually, is the perception of options. And the perception of options isn't mean you're flirting or doing anything like that. The perception of options is she sees how other women look at you and how they talk about you around you. And she realizes the perception. The reason why it's stronger is because your wife goes, yeah, that's right. I got him.
Mm.
And when she now is laying claim in front of others, even there's a threatening mechanism no matter what that goes on there. The only way he has long-term attraction, perception of options, is he has to keep being the best.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets fat and 245 pounds, he might spit good game because he's good at talking, but she's still having sex with a fat dude.
So was your moment, because you said you got up to 245, was it hearing those tires pull out that you said, this is below my standard, I'm creating a new standard? Was
I think
that like the aha?
I think I've struggled with my weight my whole life. Like Jessie had seen me rip twice too.
Mm-hmm.
So like I struggled with my weight up until about 2 years ago.
So what changed? And the reason why I ask is because I've noticed in both of our fields, people don't reach out until all hope is lost, or like shit hit the fan. It's kind of like, oh, had you called me a year ago, we could have completely changed this, but we're still here now, and I'm still trying to figure out how to overcome human nature of waiting until all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
But that other part is it tends to take some moment where the pain of staying the same gets so excruciating, the false pain of change becomes the go-to mechanism. So what happened 2 years ago where that was the flip of the switch?
My buddy Garrett got really, really in shape, and then right after he got really, really in shape, Dan Martell got really, really, really in shape, and those are two of my best friends. So I was like,
So you already run at this high level where you're seeing what that looks like.
and I was like, shit. And I'm here saying I'm teaching men to be the most attractive version of themselves for themselves, but I didn't embody that. Now I embody it.
Did you feel like a hypocrite back
I
then?
didn't feel like a hypocrite because I know that attraction isn't just physical with women, but it didn't the alignment in the marketplace was a little off.
So I was gonna say, well, you know my heart, so I can call you out. How were you able to rationalize not seeing that as hypocrisy back then?
I don't know. How does anybody get so stupid?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a rationalization. I just I still had the fruit of what I was selling.
Okay,
My
so
wife has been all over me for the last 8 years. So it's like, what am I selling to get your wife radically attracted to you? So my wife was radically attracted to me. Where I realized I wasn't hitting the standard was becoming the most attractive version of me for me. I had let that area just.
Yeah.
I was like, I think you know what happens with guys who struggle with their weight their whole life. They get to a certain way, they diet really hard. This was me. Diet really hard and get like ripped and jacked, and then almost get so arrogant that I forget I was a product of the protocol rather than actually like, oh, I did it. No, you didn't eat bad food. You actually went to the gym. You did your whatever. So I never felt like a hypocrite in the marketplace. I could get the man a result, and I had the result. But you know, what happened the last 2 years when I got in this type of shape? My business blew up.
next level.
Yeah. And guess who reached out? More next level guys.
Yeah.
Guess how I got to what I charge now for my one-on-one stuff? It was NFL guy that said, I need help.
Because you're the reflection of the ideal. So much good stuff here. I want to keep diving in just a little longer.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
I've got my watch isn't right. What time is it?
It's 2:20.
Perfect. I have till 2:45.
Okay, beautiful. So, and the reason why I asked that is because we change when there's consequences. If there weren't any consequences, the other part that I love is I call it the horizon level of living, because every level you get to, the horizon moves. It's not a thing of like, I got here, I can let go. And the reason why it's so big with us is we see this all the time. Clients will come in, they'll get insane results in the 90 days, our 90-day program. They'll do our virtual program, do very well. And then at some point, they stop doing the work that got the results. And so we find human nature is, I do the work, I get the results, I love the results, I rationalize not doing the work, and then I get pissed off because I don't do the work that got the results. So true. So one of the things we tell our clients here is, in the physical realm, we tend to see things so much easier than emotionally or psychologically. So we say, okay, let's say you stop showing up to work for a full month. And then on the 31st of that month, you go to your boss and you say, I need to get paid for the last 31 days. Pay me for this month. What would they say? Every single time, clients like, they laugh me out. They said, you already fired you. Not a single person goes, oh, to be fair, they'd pay me. Well, no, why not? Because I didn't do the work to get the results to get paid. But we do that in recovery. We do that in all different levels. And so learning how to basically become that new standard that you share. Here's the new standard. This is not what I do. This is who I am. Now it's become an identity.
I'm a provocateur. It's why I'm a leader. I'm a lover. I'm a leader. I'm a lighthouse. These are mantras that we teach you guys. I'm a lover. I'm a leader.
Awesome.
I'm a lighthouse. So that way they always remember, I am a lover. What does a lover do? A lover loves. What does that mean? Whatever makes her feel more loved, that's what a lover does. Because she just told you she likes acts of service. She likes this. Doesn't matter if you like it. Do it. So, yeah, which leads us to our fourth dial, the player dial.
Okay.
The player dial is this dial that simply says, dude, you used to be so playful back when you met her. You guys used to laugh. No woman went on a second date because the first one was so boring she couldn't wait to leave. She had a good time. So she used to have a good time around you. The player dial encompasses quite a few things. It encompasses your weight. Hey, if she met me at 185 pounds, ripped, lean, jacked, then if I get any worse than that, what a piece of shit I am.
Mm.
The same thing I would feel about her if she's like, I'm just going to gain 50 pounds. I'd be like, but that's not, what are you doing? That's not what you sold me. So the weight one is an interesting one because it is the direct correlation of how you view yourself inside
Mm-hmm.
and what you actually value and what your real priority is.
Well, let me ask you on the other side, because I would imagine if a husband said to his wife, I would think all women would hear this and be like, would gasp together of, if you gain too much weight, what do we do in this relationship? That's not what I signed up for. So how do you navigate that?
Well, that one's a real tricky one, and it might be a great clip for you guys to get some eyeballs. But the real truth of the matter is, a man is responsible for himself first and foremost,
Mm-hmm.
and that's as we teach, you clean up your side of the street, and she's probably gonna have a lot of PTSD from you being not so there, especially this player dial, dude. This is you used to take her on dates. You used to go and drive an hour and a half to help. Whatever. There was all this effort you used to put in.
Yeah.
So I have like a little like mental picture I like to take guys through. And I go, okay, imagine you're instantly single right now, just right now, and your high school crush reaches out to you and says, "Hey, man, looks like life's treating you well. Let's connect." How would you show up to that date? What would you do? How would you plan, et cetera, et cetera?
Great measurement.
What's that?
It's great measurement.
Yeah, dude, you wouldn't be wearing, you would be.
I think most guys would say, give me like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's you either have a standard or you don't. But that shows a man that goes, wow, I've let my standard slip from my wife. I must have really been entitled and taken advantage. They just feel taken. They feel taken for granted. No human being likes feeling taken for granted.
Oh yeah.
Nobody, dude.
I love that this is one of the dials, because one of the most painful parts of my marriage, this was maybe 6 or 7 years into our marriage. I remember she looked at me and she goes, "You used to be so much fun. Like, when did you get so serious?" And I wish my reaction was like, "Thank you, sweetie." Business was like fires everywhere, all hell breaking loose. And I'm just like, life is serious. Like, just so trying to defend, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I wish I could go back and just hug that version of me. Be like, dude, I love you.
Yeah.
Just let it go. Just melt down right now. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
But playful is such an important part. As we get older, we tend to get so much more serious.
Yeah, man. The kids like laugh 7 to 10 times more than adults. That's horrible. But here's the thing is, Cyndi Lauper, the great American poet, said, girls just want to have fun, right?
That's all they really want.
That's all they really want. So it's like, dude, if that's a core truth that we know, then are you fun? Does your wife think you're fun? So like for me, I'm going to have a good time in my life, and I'm inviting her to it. I'm going to go to the restaurants I like. I'm going to go to the comedy shows I like. She likes the same thing, and I don't do everything I like. I find out what she likes too, and hey, let's go do that. And there's some stuff I've gone to that she's like, I really like this. I'm like, let's go. I'm going to be enthusiastic, because you know what I want? I want her enthusiasm back when I'm sitting down and eating dinner, and I go, can I just tell you for 3 minutes about jujitsu today? And she'll be like, okay. Like, who did you get tapped? Who'd you tap? And it's so dumb, right?
Yeah, no, it's great.
But I want to share it. So like when she goes, hey, I'm going to talk to you about this reality show that I don't care about, and she's into it, I'm like, I want to hear more. That's you. I think a lot of men, they want to change their wives, when in reality, if you love your wife as she is, who she is, and she can let the more real out, I believe there's an inner slut in every woman, dude.
I like that.
It just has to be let out. And if they're not safe, due to defensiveness, if they're not safe, there's no more playfulness, there's no more fun, there's no like, why should she get excited for you when you come home if you're not very fun?
Yeah,
that's so simple, dude. You know what I mean? But this also encompasses smelling good. Like take a shower. There's guys that be like, they'll go on date nights after the gym. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You're just, who wants to hug? And then guys are like, my wife's not very affectionate. I'm like, have you smelled your breath? Have you clipped your toenails? I know it's so simple, but a lot of guys forget that. And if he doesn't really have, nobody else wants, if your wife realized no other women actually want you, she got the runt of the litter.
Yeah.
And she's like, I could have done better. And that's what I just talked to a lady today. She's so fit, right? Really into fitness. I see her at the gym all the time. And she goes, yeah, dude, my husband gained like 100 pounds and I had to, or 80 pounds, and I had to stop and go, I'm just not physically attracted to you, and I don't want to go through life with you not taking care of your health because I'm the fit chick and you're the fat guy. And he goes, yeah, I don't even want to go out because I know that people, she goes, that's what they're thinking. But this is your wake up call to stop this, because when she met him, he was super fit. So it's like this mentality, and that was me, 185 pounds, tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire. And dude, I was 245 power of just polar bear pudge. You know what I mean? So it's like, why would she, why are you, it's just, you switched everything. Now, let's hit the fifth one. It's the power dial. The power dial is, do you do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it without fault? Period. And if you're going to be late, text somebody you're going to be late. Hey, man, I'm going to be late. Communicate as if you value the other person's attention. You actually, I value this. Thank you for this. I got to. So I would do stuff like, I'm going to be home at 5, and then I wouldn't be home till like 5:20. And I'd be like, dude, I had a bad day. Just relax. She's like, yeah, except we were counting on you because you said we were going to go to this thing. Or I asked you to get this thing from the store. You said yes, and then you don't do it. For me, the story I like to share, because it's so funny, because I was so stupid, was she asked me, we moved in this new house, and she goes, hey, will you hang this painting? And it's like 6 or 8 pictures in this little area. I go, no problem, got it. Week later, that hasn't been done. 2 weeks later, hasn't been done. So like week 3, she's like, I don't want to nag, but like, are you gonna, oh yeah, I got it. I'm totally gonna get it. I got time. I'm gonna do it. And then, 3 weeks after that, she's like, dude, like, do you do what you say you're gonna do? Like,
Yeah,
do you
that
even
trust just erodes.
And that's what happens when the trust goes down, the lust goes down. So in this, when a man gives away his power, it's because his word doesn't mean anything to himself anymore. And so that's when she goes, dude, I can't trust on this guy. I can't lean on this guy at all. And when she can't lean on you, she has to stand on her own, which means if she can't lean on you, she doesn't need you. She's not going to open up to you. You're not going to get that beautiful, feminine, desirous, flowy, wonderful side of her that you had before you ruined it.
Wow.
So that's power dial. Is like, actually, it's just this, like, are you going to do this for you? And it's like, if you will you, we have some specific questions. One of them or two of them I think would be helpful for this podcast, for a guy to hear this, is do you not ask for sex out of fear of rejection, or if you get rejected, do you act like a pouty little bitch? And guess what? I was the king of both of those. And I know that feeling of in your stomach and your throat, and you're like, I want to say something, but I can't. Can I? And I want more, but am I allowed to? And there's just so much confusion in the man's head, and it's just like, why isn't she initiating? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't she acting like, the ladies in the movies? Because she used to act like the ladies in the movies or whatever, right? And it's like, and there's just all this confusion for men. They don't know what to do. And it's like, well, if you come boil right down to, do you do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it? Well, guess what? You're going to end up rich. You're going to end up ripped. And you're going to end up radically in love. Like, you can't not get those 3 things if you do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it without fault. That's what it means. Because then when they can trust on you, when the trust goes up, the lust goes up. Now she's like, I married this guy. I'm so blessed to be with this guy. I know women, they're not real complimentary. So she may not be falling in love with you going, I am so blessed to be your wife. But watch her actions. Watch her initiate. Watch her become open to having a sexual conversation that you've been too afraid to have. A lot of guys, they're like, oh man, we can't talk about nothing. Well, yeah, because she can't talk about nothing with you. So why would she even want to talk about that sensitive subject of sex when she doesn't want to be having it with you?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of friends that get divorced, and then they find their ex is out with people doing the things that they wanted them to do. They're like, wait, you are capable.
All the time.
I see it all the time with actually a few friends that just recently divorced. They're like, had I gotten that, we wouldn't have got divorced. And it's kind of like, well, what was the version of you that didn't allow them to do that?
That's it, man.
Right?
That's it. That's another frame that I think is really interesting. As the wife is the mirror to the man. This to me is so powerful, because if a guy is at an A+, she's gonna give her some time, and she'll either mirror that A+, or she'll be a good B+, right? But when a guy sees it, he's like, my wife's like average or below average, and I hate the way she treats me. that is only an indication of what level of husband he is. So one of the frames that we teach is get to the A plus version of you as fast as humanly possible, and then and that's your only goal.
And then hold the standard, right?
Hold the standard, be consistent, because guess what? She'll then she'll mirror you, but you know what she's gonna do before she mirrors you? She's gonna test you.
Yeah, check, full check, like NHL style.
Yeah, she has to, because people test what they want to trust.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. Say that again.
People test what they want to trust.
That's powerful.
Yeah, if you're running through the Amazon forest and there's like a big ravine that you could fall to your death, and there's like an old Indiana Jones bridge, you're gonna put your foot out there and say, "Hey, can this hold me up?" Well, that's what she's doing. She has fallen into that ravine so many times by trusting you before. Like you said you were going to do something, but you didn't. You said you were going to start the business, you didn't. You said you're going to grow, but you didn't. Your word means nothing to you. And she goes, well, I can't trust this guy. So when you start to show up in this new energy, giver energy versus taker energy, interviewer energy versus interviewee energy, powerful frame of doing what you say you're going to do, she has to test it to see if it's real, because most guys, when they struggle with they don't like the sex in their life or the connection and intimacy, they only do behavior modification. Do more dishes, you know what I mean? Try and take her on dates. They try and do stuff, and most guys end in frustration and go, none of that worked. It's not supposed to work. That's you trying to put on an act to get her to perform. That's not going to work. That's taker energy.
Yeah.
So she has to test, is this real? Is this change lasting? Is he going to go back? So much so that my wife had to rename me. She goes, the version of you that was the worst version, she called him Trevor. And then I was Keith. I became Keith. And then she's like, dude, I'm so in love with you, and I have so much fun with you. And she now calls me Sancho, which is like her Latin lover side piece. And that's what our life is. It's fun, it's laughter, it's sex, it's all that. Now, do we argue? Of course we argue, but we don't yell. We just say, hey man, this is frustrating me. I need to work through this, and whatever it is. But the long story short is, dude, if she tests you and realizes he's just doing this to get sex, it's even more unattractive, because now you're such a low value man basically begging. And that's what a man feels like. So what we go is, no, we don't want change. I never coach a man hoping to change him, because to me, change, you just become a better caterpillar. But I'm going for transformation, because that's what a butterfly, and the butterfly has wings and is way more free. The Bible says, know the truth, and the truth will set you free, right? Mm-hmm. Well,
but it'll ruin your day at first.
Yeah, it will ruin the day at first. But here's another thing to think of. If you're not free, you don't know the truth. So if a man's not free in his marriage to be who he is, to experience what he wants to experience, he just isn't aligned close enough to the truth yet to get all of it. The closer I get to the truth of radical transparency about who I am as a man and what I desire as a standard, and I will hold myself accountable, she can test that. How? She can look down and go, he says he's not eating any sugar for the next 30 days. Is there any sugar wrappers in the thing? No, of course there isn't, because he said he wasn't. His word is so crisp and so bankable that would never happen. So what happens is, now she goes, I can test this guy. And it's stuff like this, simple test. Guy starts working out. He realizes, oh shit, all this talk about being fat's not healthy, right? I got to go back in shape. So he starts going to the gym, and what does she do? Oh, is there another? She knows she's not giving him sex. So she's like, oh, is there another girl? There's another girl. What are you doing? What are you doing on this? And a lot of guys are like, oh, you don't like it? I'm so sorry. They're trying to appease her and please her. And she goes, oh, I'm the leader still. Rather than he goes, no, I'm going to the gym because I want to look good. She goes, I don't like it when you go to the gym. Then don't go. I'm going to the gym. Health is my priority. Yeah. So what happens is, when they can test, is this really him? Has he really transformed? Or is he going to go back? Because if she puts her heart back in this man's hands and he goes back, she's like, I did it again. Yep. This little weasel did it again.
So one of the things you talked about, and this was a big delusion for me, was that a healthy marriage is free of tension. And you talked about you and Jesse colliding, and it took a while to retrain my brain, because everything in life, all life comes from tension. Everything in life comes from tension. Like we were talking fitness, you go and you have to literally rip your muscles with micro tears for them to rebuild. But in marriage, so one of the biggest things was learning how to have healthy tension, where you tear and repair. And that's a part that I missed for so long. I still struggle with, but I'm getting better,
Yeah.
but of learning how to hold the tension for the polarity in
Yeah.
order, because that's what actually creates the attraction when done in a safe, healthy
Yeah.
way.
When the core of all of it, the core of all polarity is eventually you learn to love yourself, and your love for yourself is enough love for you.
Mm-hmm. That's when you become ultimately attractive in every way.
Because nobody can shake your inner cup and spill your water. It's not
Yeah.
possible.
So one of the final
Crazy,
things
right?
you said that is, I call it the.
It's been one of my favorite interviews, by the way.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'm glad.
Because because I've known you for a while, but like that you're asking about the realness about the book and the real questions, and it's been one of my favorite interviews.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Pacific Shores. We have been an industry leader for over 25 years in the mental health and addiction space. We have helped thousands and thousands of individuals and families reclaim their lives. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please reach out so we can do this together. Our number is 949-749-7317. What I try to do here is, I can't stand fluff or surface level shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I want to give value in each person's expertise so people can watch and be like, this is going to help my marriage.
Yeah.
Imagine what happens if I reach out and go to the next level, to go from the math is not my forte, but we'll say the 87% that
Yeah.
it sucks, to the 13% that I'm truly content, to the 2% of this is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
So one of the other things you said was consistency. And I don't know how we've lost this over time, but it's one of the easiest human superpowers to really maintain and hold the standard.
Yeah.
Most people lack consistency. They start, they stop, they start, they stop. And that's, again, going back to human nature. How important, and it was kind of a loaded question, but how important is consistency when rebuilding trust in a marriage?
It's the only tangible evidence they have that what you're saying is true.
Mm.
Anything else is just lies. That's it. I'm gonna love you. Show me. That most men are just talkers. And we're good at talking because we have to be leaders. We're taught to be leaders. So, and leadership and the spoken word are inextricably woven. So if you want to lead, you're gonna have to be good at talking. Well, but if you don't back it up, who knows? Your wife. So she's like, you might, dude. I had great friends. I had a great business while I was doing. When she left me, it was just I was not that way to her.
Mm.
I took her for granted. You know what I mean? I just so, consistency comes from when a man has a true understanding. I eat the way I eat consistently for these last 2 years, and look basically like this for the last 2 years, because I realized how much value there was, and in that if I slipped off of it, the value would start to diminish.
Mm.
So it's like I like being an example of what it looks like to look like a man. So I'm very consistent in that thing. So I think I don't know what the real answer is, if I'm being honest. These are just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think until a man has real understanding that, you know what, dude, none of this is going to happen by accident. Yeah. And the guy that you see that has what you want, your temptation to think is he was just lucky. I'm tempted to think, well, you're just lucky. The reason because you grew up in Newport. I mean, that's something I could think, and that might be true, but it actually doesn't matter if it's true or doesn't. It's none of my business, because that's not my pain. That's your life is yours, mine is mine. So there's all these temptations for men to be like, oh, it's easy for Keith to say because his wife had da. It's easy for Keith to say. It's easy for Mark to say. It's not easy for anybody. It's not. So that's a lie. Mm. And ultimately, I would say this: anything that this guy's listening, any one of these men have all become good at something. There was something that drove them, and so it wasn't necessarily that they had to have more discipline. It was something drove them where they're like, I can't not do this. And if you can somehow create a container for your life to like, I can't not do this, I think that's what leads to the consistency. But it's, dude, so I don't eat a lot of sugar, and I try not to eat a lot of like trash. But there are times where just for 2 or 3 days, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go.
Does your brain crave it though?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm
Okay.
so in a routine now that like this is just living. But yeah, there's times if I eat it, the more I eat it, the more I crave it,
Yeah.
right? But after like those 2 or 3 days of just like letting myself go wild, which I think everybody needs to go wild in their own way from time to time because we still are wild animals.
Yeah.
We are wild animals at the core of us too. We're divine and absolutely animals. So I know if I cut out sugar and just stick to my macros for 3 days, my head will be right again.
Mm.
I know it because I've done it enough times. If a man hasn't stuck consistently through his thing, it feels like the hardest thing in the world to do. And if I was anybody that was like, I have to figure this thing out, I would say, I need a friend I can call and go, right now, I'm feeling all and hearing all those lies in my head that have made me quit before. And I don't know how to talk myself out of talking myself out.
Yeah.
That is a real scenario for every guy. Should I reach for the Honey Nut Cheerios? No.
Mm-hmm.
Should I? Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, in our field, it's the drug, the alcohol, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And what you said, I love that, of learning how to lead yourself before trying to lead others.
Yeah.
And the self-worth comes from the self-work.
That's right.
If I can get the consistency in doing the work, the law of nature is the fruit will be born from that work.
I wish every man could taste that fruit, bro.
Yeah.
That my mission now for Married Game. I got some really cool announcements. I can't make them here. I'll show them to you before I leave, though. It'll drop your jaw. I just want men to taste what I taste because I didn't, and I'm just like, it feels so good when you know your wife is like genuinely really into you. And my wife, and I'm sure a lot of these guys and your wife too, these are objectively gorgeous women that have every guy throwing themselves up. And she's like, that's my guy. I wish they knew what that felt like. I wish they could taste again, because a lot of these guys tasted this in the beginning. I wish they could taste again what it's like to watch their wife losing themselves because of what he's doing to her. I wish they could taste that because I know how good that feels.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's a divine right to feel those things. And anything that pushes me off of that or pushes them off of that is moving them away from their divine right. And that to me is that's sad, dude.
Well, the beautiful thing how you share that is it's like, my wife wants me, she doesn't need me. And when you can create a relationship where there's not that scarcity, there's not need, she has the money to go if she wants, she has the support, all this stuff. Daily, she turns to me out of desire versus out of need.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
It's
So,
so beautiful.
wrapping this up, let's say someone is finally getting back on the track, because the people that watch this have either in the middle of their recovery, have overcome some sort of mental health or addiction, and they're looking at rebuilding trust, getting that relationship back. What's one piece of advice you can share with them to either give them hope or something to look forward to of what's out there?
The simplest thing that I would have a guy really audit right away is, if I'm being honest with myself, do I actually do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it? That would be number one. The second, these are questions that that will lead him down a path. The second question I would ask, that a man should ask himself, and this one always does its job on me, and that is, if there was a camera on you for the entire week and it was totally mute, would it be obvious that you really love your wife?
Oh my gosh, that's so good. We train our employees. Imagine the cameras on you 24/7 being projected to all your coworkers, all the clients, and it's just like a brain melt. You see some people go, oh crap. Yeah, if we live that way, if we live fully transparent, what I do in the dark gets exposed in the light, which it always does. How would I live? What would I change?
Yeah, man. And just know that, you know what's interesting is, dude, your wife deserves a good sex life too.
And hopefully it's with you.
Yeah, it's gonna be, or else if you can't figure this out, she's gonna go be that slut for another guy.
Oh man.
And that is the way it is.
Well, thank you so much for coming down. I've absolutely loved getting to just pick your brain, ask questions, get to learn from you. So thank you.
Bro, thank you for having me on. I hope that if anybody needs help, can I share with them?
Oh, please do.
Go? Yeah, so there's a couple ways you can get it, that you can kind of like jump into this. If you've really enjoyed this, you can get our book. I'll send it to you free. at marriedgamebook.com. Marriedgamebook.com. We'll send it to you free. Or if you want to like hear me like do a like direct to you kind of video breaking down what's actually happening in your marriage and how to repair it, you can go to marriedgame.com and find a video there that's very interesting, I'm sure, if you like this, and a way to get in contact with me from there. So, and then if they're on social media, I'm on Instagram.
What's your handle?
At Keith Yackey. And we share all sorts of clips from all the podcasts and all the stuff. And then we've got this really funny segment coming out that says why your date nights suck and why your wife wishes she had a different husband. And I go through 10 reasons. It's really clever. I think
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be punchy and fun. So
I love it.
Yeah, man. So thank you again for having me, bro. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.